Everybody wants to break free, at least once in a blue moon. We too wanted to be away from the city's hustle and bustle, away from our computers and our office desks and chairs. We wanted to just stare at Mother Nature in her eyes and adore her beauty, her hills, her trees, her rivers and streams, and her winding paths. It was this desire that led us to the tranquil hills of Morni. These hills border Himachal Pradesh in Haryana. To take us to our destination was a 4x4 Jeep Compass powered by a diesel 2-liter engine that produced around 170.63 horsepower and a peak torque of 350 Newton meters. The hills in Morni are part of the Shivalik range, which are, in turn, on the foothills of the mighty Himalayas. Shivalik literally means tresses of Lord Shiva. But before I go any further, let me tell you the way to the Morni Hills from New Delhi. The route we took to Morni Hills was through Panipat, Karnal, Pipli, Ambala, and before entering Chandigarh, we took a right turn towards Panchkula. Like always, it's best to start a road journey just before the sun rises. The sooner you clear the traffic in Delhi, the better are your chances to hit the national highway early and speed your way to your destination. Exiting from Delhi, we paid tolls at the NHAI Bhagan Toll Plaza for Rs 65, L&T Panipat Elevated Corridor for Rs 30, NHAI Panipat Jalandhar NH1 Tollway Private Limited for Rs 120, and a final toll at NHAI GMR Ambala Chandigarh Expressway for Rs 40. A little past 7 am and we were at the popular Murthal Sonipat, the first pit stop for those who travel by road from Delhi. Murthal is dotted with a multitude of dhabas or makeshift eateries serving mostly delicious vegetarian food. By around 2 in the afternoon, we reached Morni Hills, our final destination. No one was complaining of fatigue as the journey in the Jeep Compass was as comfortable as traveling in the lap of luxury. The 6-speed transmission ensured that we took on the highway with enough power and purpose. We maintained our speeds at the legal limits of 90 km per hour, though there were moments when we stepped on the accelerator briefly to see the digital speedometer going well past the 100 km per hour level. Morni Hills is only for those tourists who love to be in the arms of nature. Unlike the hill destinations of North India like Shimla, Nainital, Mussoorie, Kasauli, Kullu and Manali, where hills have been stripped bare of trees and land, where ugly, monstrous hotels of all sizes accommodate hundreds and thousands of uncouth tourists who rather binge on beer and loud music, the Morni Hills are for those in love with tranquility, peace and beauty. Morni Hills is popular for its 2 lakes, the Tikkar Tal Lake. The 2 small lakes, though known by one name, are separated by a small hill, and it is said that these 2 lakes are interconnected through some natural underground tunnel. This means that the level of water in both lakes remain quite balanced. Boat rides are popular for tourists at these lakes. We drove down to the Tikkar Tal Lake in our Jeep Compass and had the opportunity to test the capability of the vehicle over some very thick slush. A tweak of a knob on the center console of the Jeep Compass is all what is required to change the vehicle from the auto mode to a 4-wheel mode or to any other mode like snow, sand or mud. We turned the knob to the mud mode and surprisingly the vehicle simply kept moving with considerable ease. For the next couple of days we simply spent our time at the lake. A Haryana tourism hotel by the side of the lake wore a deserted look. I wondered why people in India hated secluded and scenic places and rather preferred crowded hills dotted with a million shops. We were now keen to drive our Jeep Compass closer to a riverbed, and as luck would have it, we saw a rough path leading us to the Ghaggar riverbed. We noticed that there was a large area under a bridge that could easily accommodate our Jeep Compass. We cautiously drove the vehicle onto the slightly rocky place. Now it was the turn of the 4x4 mode to be deployed. As we parked the vehicle at a safe place with the river water gently caressing the tires of the Jeep Compass, we took off our shoes, stepped into the fresh waters and spent our time taking pictures and videos of the Jeep Compass and the surrounding valley. There were not many people in that area. We were so happy about that. An occasional head or two would pop up on the bridge above and look at us curiously. But when our drone began its journey to explore the valley around us, we noticed that a gaggle of children had gathered around gazing at the drone. The drone had by now become a craze for them as they yelled gleefully every time it picked up speed and touched new heights. Morni Hills offers a fascinating landscape. You have these lovely streams and rivers, you have these cobbled paths, you have the rough terrains. And while I was thrashing my Jeep Compass 4x4 and exploiting its off-road capabilities, I suddenly noticed that there is something called a Morni Fort Museum. And that's where I made a pit stop. Now this entire museum is housed in a magnificent fort, which by itself has a fantastic history. It was built sometime in the 17th century, and it was only very recently that the Forest Department of the Haryana government recast it and made a museum to give a message to the people out here to conserve energy, to protect animals. Now the Morni Fort Museum is an education institute by itself. If you notice around, it has 3 different sections. One is where, of course, they talk about conservation of nature. There's another little place where they talk about the insect odyssey. And there's a third area which talks about saving animals, in fact, protecting wildlife. The museum really was a big surprise for us, and that too a pleasant one. I feel that this is a must-visit place for families on the journey to Morni Hills because there is so much to learn and so much to appreciate here.